Hello everyone, today we are going to see the next problem of Mockvita 2020. So basically there were two Mockvitas two time and this is basically the second one. And from this we have already posted 4 questions and this is basically the 5th question of this Mockvita, which is actually this D part, right? The problem statement name is Petrol Pump. We'll be like watching its what is the logic, and then we'll be watching the what is the code, how to work with the code. Actually it is of dynamic programming, so we'll be looking forward why dynamic programming is being used. Okay, so after that I'll be like telling you the code in Python in this video, but still you will be finding the code in C++ language as well in the GitHub link below. So let's just see what is the logic, and then we'll be going to the program, which is not having any error if you like submit it. Neither the runtime error, neither the time limit exceeded error, right? So let's see what is the logic, and then we'll be coming to the program. So my name is Anchal and you are watching our channel, The Insight Coders. So let's begin. So here you can see the problem statement says that you have different set of vehicles that need to be filled by the petrol in the vehicles. Okay, so what you need to do, you have to like arrange the vehicles such that in such a way that they take the shortest time to fill all the vehicles and provide the time taken in seconds as output. That means if one machine like it takes it like vents petrol at 1 liter per second, then we have to like tell the time in which minimum time we get filled, the vehicles get filled. Okay, so this is what we need to find. Let's see the example and everything, then you will be more clear about the fact. So the very first of all, it's in constraints. The constraints are not that much big. After that there comes like the input format. The input format is the first line will provide the quantity of the petrol, okay, that can be filled in each vehicle. That means each vehicle needs how much liter petrol. Okay, then here comes the output. Output tells the shortest possible time to fill the petrol in all the vehicles. See, the example is like I have this input. So it says I am having 2 petrol vending machines. I want my cars, my vehicles to like parallelly, they should get filled such that there are 2 petrol vending machines. If the cars goes in such a way to both the machines such that they go out in the very least time. That means in their journey they do not waste much time in just vending the petrol pump, right? So for that they want least time. So basically it is the problem of minimization, and you know whenever we need to minimize or maximize, that means we need an optimal solution. That is basically done, it is like preferred to done by dynamic programming, right? So they have said like these are like the quantity of the petrol that can be filled in each vehicle. So say first machine takes the vehicles of 16, 6, 4, 3, 2 such that they will take 31 seconds, that it was mentioned 1 second per liter, right? And the second machine parallelly takes 11, 10, 5, 3 and 1. That means total 30 seconds. So we can say total time taken for this was 31. Instead if you adjust all the elements like all the cars goes to one machine only, then it will take 61 seconds, right? Similarly we have example 2. So you can say in example 2, you can just see what are the like possible ways to get the optimal solution, that is 335. So many students says like just sort, then take one at a time and just like put one in the first list and second one in the second list. Yeah, it will perfectly work upon this first input, but definitely it will not work upon all the inputs. You just try to apply it on the second example and you will not be able to see that. So let's see what is the actual logic and how to implement it. See, first of all, I was just telling you it is the problem of minimization and basically the minimization of subset problem. So say we have just the list. I am not taking the long example. I am taking the input as these 5 elements only, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I want to divide it into two subsets such that their difference must be minimum. So I am taking 1, 2 and 5 in the first subset while 5 and 4 in the second subset. Let me just add them. 1 plus 2 plus 5 is equals to 8. Similarly, 3 plus 4 is equals to 7. This was the best optimal way so that the difference of the subsets is equals to 1, which is actually minimum. What if I take 1 and 2 in first subset and 1 and 2 in first, 3, 4, 5 in second. The sum is 3 and sum of 3 plus 4, 7, 7 plus 5, 12. 12 minus 3, it's 9. But I am getting 1 here. So I want to divide such that the difference of the two subsets should be minimum. What is the reason? So that they can vend the petrol in the least time. Like if one set of cars, one subset of cars are like completed by vending the petrol, but the second are just standing in there. So they need to wait for all the ones because they have to start the journey with all the cars, right? So what they want that they should go in such a manner that least time is taken so that they can just continue the journey with the very less time, right? This is what we need to do. Now, this can basically be done either by the dynamic programming or by simple recursion. As I just told you, dynamic programming is more preferable, recursion is not preferable. Why? Dynamic programmer, you never will get the time limit exceeded because we store some results. And secondly, we never get the runtime error or the memory exceeded, in which are the cases which can easily be there in simple recursion, right? Okay. So let me just tell you one more point. You are just able to see this was the input array, right? If I just add all these elements 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, I'll be getting 15. So how I get to know that how to divide in the subsets? Like this was a small value, but what if we get a greater value in the input array, right? So just add the elements. That means this is basically the sum. So when I just get the sum, what I'll do, I'll just divide it by 2. I just divided it by 2. Then I get 7.5, but I am using the floor division. The reason is I am here getting only 7. So the answer here is 7. Right? I just need to add 7, 1 to the 7. The reason is this would be the value that should come approximately of the subset whose sum is greater, right? Because this is the reason, then only we'll be getting the difference as minimum, and the minimum difference could be either 0 or 1. Am I right? Yes. So this is the way we'll be doing this problem. Okay, so this was the first example that was given in our question. So let's work upon the same example as well. So this would be the subset 1 in which we have to divide, and this is the subset 2. So when you will just add it, subset 1 will give you the value of 31, while subset 2 will give you the value of 30. I just told you we need to find the difference in its 1. Yes, it is minimum. So you can make all the possible cases. Just pause the video and trace and make all the possible subsets such that they're like whatever the sum of the subset elements would be, just subtract it. It will surely be greater than 1. Okay. So this is what I was just telling you. So what we have done here, this was the input array, right? Just add the elements and you will be getting 61. Just divide 61 by 2, the floor division. You will be getting 30, right? When you will be getting 30, what you need to do now, you just have to add 1. This means the sum of the subset which is greater should be 31. Right? This is a sort of approach that we would be using. So I was just trying to explain you first. Now see what I have done. Here I am having all the elements. If you just go down, I am having all the elements from 1 to 5 and a 0 extra, right? And if I just talk about the columns, I am having 1 to the sum. The sum was 15 in this case, so I am just having till 15. what I did, it is basically a matrix and I have filled 0 at each and every position, right? So just you can just watch one of my video as coin distribution. What is the concept behind the video? It's a Codevita problem only itself, the previous year Codevita question. See, just imagine we have no coin for now, 0 coins. So can we purchase the item of 1 rupees? No, we cannot. So I am having like 0 here. Secondly, now you have 2 coins, one of 0 and one of 1. There no coin exists for 0. So we have only basically 1 coin. So can I purchase the item for 1 rupees? Yes, I can. So I just inserted 1 here instead of the previous 0. Now can I purchase 2, 3, 4 or any of the item of the above rupees? No, because we have only 1 rupees, right? So this is the point how what we will be using here, sort of a concept. Like if I talk about this part, now we have 2 coins, 1 rupees and 2 rupees. So can I purchase the element of 1 rupees? Yes, because I have a 1 rupee coin. Can I purchase an element which is of 2 rupees? Yes, I can, because I am having a 2 rupees coin as well. Can I purchase of 3 rupees? Yes, I can, because I have 2 coins, one for 1 rupees and one for 2 rupees. That means here also. So I have replaced these 3 values by 1. Similarly, I will be checking for 3. Here we are having basically 3 coins, 1, 1, 1, 1 for 1 rupees, 1 for 2 rupees, 1 for 3 rupees. If you want to like see the logic in detail, we are having one more video for the same concept. You can just go and watch that. You will be finding the link in the description. Similarly, I like placed all the elements. Now, what is the thing you need to observe? See, firstly, I am having this 1. If I am having a 1 rupee, if I talk about like this 5, this means I am having a 1 rupees coin, a 2 rupees coin, a 3 rupees coin, a 4 rupees coin and a 5 rupees coin. Since I am having a 1 rupees coin also, so I can purchase all the elements of 1 rupees. Since it gets 1 here in this case, that means it would be 1 in each and every case of that particular column. Because obviously we will be having 1 for the all next cases, right? Similarly, what you need to remember, like I am having a 2 rupees coin, that means the complete row should be 1. Since I am getting 1 at this position, that means complete row should be 1. Same way here. Say I just come to here, that means what are the elements below that always would be 1. Because we are having that possible set of coins which is used to make 7. So every time like I am having one extra coin 5, then obviously earlier if I was able to make 7, then now also I can make 7. Right? So this is the logic why we are always like, if I get any element 1 in any of the column, I just place 1 below all in that column every time, right? Because I can purchase that set of thing by using those coins. This is a sort of logic. Actually, this is the logic that we are going to use here. For this, what I am doing, I am having a 2 loops in nesting. The reason is because I am working with the matrix and I know whenever I need to work with the matrix, I need 2 loops. One for the rows, that is the number of elements in. Second for the column, basically S is here the sum of the elements, that is 15. Right? Now what I need to do? What I am doing, if I get 1 in any of the place in the column, that means all the elements below that there should be 1. All the elements in that column, right? So if in this matrix, if at I minus 1 of the jth position is equals to 1, then insert the same value at matrix of ij also, right? If it's like 0 in this case, now I have just inserted 0. Now from these 2 lines, I will be like checking whether we can make this particular set, like is it possible to make 7 with 4, 3, 2, 1 coins? Yes. If I just add 4 and 3, that means I can just purchase a 7 rupee item, right? The same way, if you are able to do that, it's finding because of this if condition. If you are able to do that, then what it is doing, it is basically giving an OR. It's like, do you know what is OR? OR means if any of the statements says 1. If any of the input is 1, that means the output should be 1. Similarly, if it is possible to make the combinations from the set of coins, then it will surely give you this ones, right? So this is what to make this table, this matrix till this point you need this set of instructions, right? So actually I'll be using this part in the coding, so I just explained you here itself. Next point. So first of all, these were the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know the sum was equals to till 15, right? The sum was till 15. So I just told you that you have to divide this 15 by 2, and whenever you do so, you will be getting the 7.5, since we are taking the floor division to find that minimum. So that means we need to take the only 7 from this 7.5. Right, and we are actually then checking the 7th index, and when we are checking the 7th index, you can see that if there is 1 at this moment, if the last element, if it is 1, then we simply break and print them as minimum as 7. If it is not, then we just go 1 back. That means we are doing basically a down to loop. This down to loop basically tells the sum, that is S, which is basically here 15 by 2. That means 7.5, and the floor division, that is 7. So what we do, from 7 we'll be looking till 1, such that if we get a 1, say if it would be 0 here, then we'll be checking it here. If we get 1 anywhere, we just break it, and we simply, whatever the number is, say it's 6, we simply return it, whatever is the number. So this is how we'll be doing our job. Actually we'll be using a formula. For the formula is S minus difference. The difference is basically here 1. That means 15 minus 1, 14. 14 by 2, 7. So as to find this 7, okay, and that would be, we would be using it for in the next program, okay, like in the driver code. So this is what we are. Let's just check out the code for the same. So let's just see what is the program for the same. First of all, I am just taking the input array. For this I am taking the input array, just splitting it and mapping it into the list. You can also do the same work using list comprehension, as I have already used that one also in many of my videos, right? Now I will be calling a function which is calculate difference, in which my first element is what is the input array. The second one is the basically length of this input array, right? When I just go to this function, first of all I just find S, that is the sum of the array. As in case of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it was 15. Now in the matrix I am substituting each and every element as 0. Here I am using list comprehension. You can just simply do one thing similar to these two loops. Just use two loops, and at each element of the at each element of the matrix, just place 0. This is doing the same work in a single line using list comprehension, right? Now what I need to do, I just have to place the 0th column. The first column was for 1, because at 1 what I need to do, we can make 1 coin each and every time. You have observed that it was 1 for the first column for all the times. So I'm explicitly putting it. Now this was the logic for creating the whole matrix. I just told you, if we have a 1 in any of the column, then all the elements in that column below that element should be 1, right? Because that particular set of item can be purchased by the coins we have. So this is doing the same task. This is the same code that we have seen there. Now the next task was to find the difference, whether it is equals to 1 or not, right? So I was checking if the sum was 15, I was checking it from 8. That means my loop should go from S by 2, and it should go from down to loop. Now you will say S by 2 is basically 7, but you should know, if I'm 8 is basically index 7, because we have to start the index from 0, right? So we'll be checking if we'll be getting matrix of nj is equals to 1. I just told you, if you get 1 at this position, it's perfectly fine. But if you don't get 1 at this position, you need to check it for this, like left to it. But you have to start from n by 2. This is what we are doing until unless we are getting 1. If you are getting 1, simply just find the difference and return it. And what it will do, it will return the difference here. Now what I am doing, I am finding the minimum. Minimum is basically sum minus difference. In this case, since we get at the 8, that means at the 7th location, so the minimum was here 7. 15 minus 1, difference was 1, because I just told you we want the minimum at least difference. Or here, you know, in the matrix we have only 2 elements, either 0 or 1, right? Yes. So 15 minus 1, that means 14 by 2, basically minimum is equals to 7. And what we need to do, we need to just add the difference to it, that means max is 8. And this is what I just told you, you have to find. That means 15 divided by 2, 7.5, the floor division plus 1. And this is what is the answer. Let's just test it for all the cases. And let me just tell you, I have tested this program on the platform itself and it's not giving any of the error and it's working perfectly. And some students just ask us, like, it at times gives the presentation error. If you have not read the guidelines of the Mockvita or the Codevita platform, the guidelines are, if you get a presentation error but still you will be getting a green line. That green line basically says the answer has been accepted by the Codevita. It do not give any of the error, right? It would be acceptable on the final day as well, so just don't worry for the presentation errors, right? So you can see it has given me the perfect answer. Just test it for this third one, 335, and let's test it for this one. Sometimes student also get confused, like what is the solution, how is it actually working. So it's giving me the correct answer 8. Let's just test it again in my, I have just like debugged it and I am having this solution. So if I just talk about the matrix, then these are the indices of each and every position, right? First of all, what I did, at each and every position I have to like fill 0 0 0 0. The first column has become 1. We have explicitly done that. The second thing was to complete this table. So when I was just completing it in the debugging part, I was finding these solutions, and this was the final one by putting all the ones at the correct position. So how we were doing it, if I minus 1 is basically 1 1 and this is 2 1. If it is 1, this means all the elements of this list should be 1. If it has become 2, that means all the elements of the list should become 2. Okay. So this was what we are going to do. Now what we do, we just find this 8th location. How? Divided by 2, and I just found it by difference, right? Now I am checking whether this element, the last element, if it is 1 or not. If it is 1, then I'll simply return. If it is not, like, I'll check this one, then this one, then this one, then till I get 1, right? Down to loop from half. When we get 1, we just like return the difference and finally we find the element, right? So this is what was the logic for this petrol pump. I hope you are able to understand it. Still, if you have any doubts or any suggestions for us, you can just give us in the कमेंट बॉक्स।
आई होप आपको ये वीडियो लेक्चर पसंद आया होगा। अगर आपको कोई भी डाउट या सजेशन है तो आप कमेंट बॉक्स में जरूर दीजिएगा, और अगर आपने वीडियो को अब तक लाइक या शेयर नहीं किया है तो जल्दी से वीडियो को लाइक और ज्यादा से ज्यादा शेयर करें, एंड प्लीज सब्सक्राइब माय चैनल एंड प्रेस द बेल आइकन्स फॉर लेटेस्ट अपडेट्स। शुक्रिया, धन्यवाद, थैंक यू।